Guys, Dan Hendriksen here. We're at Ashbury's Hotel Golf Resort and I've brought Lee out. We're going to carry on the series with you on reducing handicap and getting some ideas. We've talked about him changing his mentality in a previous video. We've looked at him with his driver and improving his strike performance for that. And we've also then moved into gapping of his clubs, so getting a better understanding of how his clubs kind of work for him and how he can perform better with them on the golf course from a yardage point of view. Now we're out here on the golf course. We've been doing some testing today with some ping products, and I thought whilst we're out here we would do a little session on course management with Lee as well. We're going to play a 3-hole session with Lee, him playing, and we're going to try and just maybe talk him through some of the things that he's doing, and maybe there's things that we can improve with him, and hopefully it might be able to help you as well. If you are new to the channel, just head over and have a little look at some of the other videos that we've done once you've seen this, and if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. Loads of content coming your way, but now for now let's get out on the golf course and see what Lee's up to. It's a little wet, but we're going to get out here and try and get this done. Yeah, we'll have to get the brolly out at some point, I'm pretty sure. Okay, first hole, tight little hole here, Lee. What would you be kind of thinking, let's say in a course vlog?
Course vlog, this is a driver. Okay. All day long.
All day long, getting aggressive approach, trying to shoot for that 59.
Yeah, so it's 320 yards. It's downhill, so probably playing about 300. Okay. Obviously, it's wet today, so it's going to pretty much plug and stop, which could change my thinking. Yeah. If this was summer, it'd be a driver and attacking that green. Okay. But because it's winter, and because it's plugging, or it's going to plop and stop a little bit because of the wet weather, I'd probably still take driver, to be honest. So playing to the yardage of what it is, obviously that excites you because you can get it to the green, but there is danger lurking everywhere you look on this particular hole. Yeah. If you get right down in that corner left of the green, that's all out of bounds there, and that's probably 100 yards or so short of the green. So your driver is going to be getting close to that out of bounds quite easily because it does jut out quite nicely on this hole. Yeah. What are you going to do now with that in mind? I'm going to hit a 2-iron. I'm quite confident with my 2-iron off the tee. Okay. So I think if I can hit a 2-iron somewhere around 200 yards to 220, it leaves me a short pitch in. Okay. And then it sort of it should take some of that danger out of play as well. Can you just do me a favour? Can you go and get your rangefinder? Mm-hmm. Right, rangefinder in hand. Yep. Just give me some numbers of what we're getting there. What is it to the flag to start with? So it's playing 295 to the flag. 295. What about the bunker down on the right hand side of the fairway there? That's playing 183. 183, so probably what, to get over it is 183, or is it? Yeah, so as close as I can get to the back is 183 playing. 183, so to give or take, you probably want to be getting that 190 to make sure you get over it. Yeah. And then what about the out of bounds left? That is the tree on the right of the out of bounds left is 273. Yeah. So we're talking probably 10 yards to the left of that, and a bit further back, so I'd say 250. Okay, possibly 240 if you go left. Yeah, it really does come in there, doesn't it? If I hook one, then 240. So if you hit that 2-iron, how far is your 2-iron going to go? I mean, you're crunching that 2-iron carry-wise at 220? 220 to 240, depending on strike. Right, so let's say you hit it 240, so you're going to have to, so number one, you're now bringing that out of bounds into play, potentially, if you turn one over. Okay. If you don't quite strike it, there's a potential you could bring in the bunker on the right to play. Yeah. If you get a high wafty one. And also then, if you crunch it and get it to 240, how far in does that leave you? 50 yards. Okay. What wedges have you got in the bag? 60, 55, 50. 55. How far does a 55 degree go? 95. 95 yards. So we need to put you in a position where you're 95 yards short of that green. Okay. That's what we need to get you into position. So you need to get into position where you can play your wedges at a comfortable position where you can start to put your wedges close. Okay. Okay? So we need to calculate what that's going to be. 4-iron. 4-iron. Yeah. Go and grab your 4-iron, Lee. Right, 4-iron in hand now, Lee. Okay. You have now created a shot that's going to be to the fattest part of the fairway. Right. So you have the most room that you need now coming down to this hole. Yeah. So, but you've got to still pick a spot, all right? So I really want you to zone in on a spot in the middle of that fairway. Right, so my tendency with an iron is straight to a draw. Yeah. So I'm going to aim for that tree, that lonesome tree, that's straight down the middle. Go for it. And then it gives me a little bit of leeway to the left as well. Good.
Great shot, straight at the flag. Just going to see that down there on the flag line. See it down?
Yeah, it's probably just further than the bunker, but left side of the fairway.
Okay, so it's probably plugged down there, isn't it? So it's quite wet. Okay, let's get down there and have a little look. Ball located just in the left side of the fairway. Now, if we look to your left behind you there, Lee, lots of space. Out of bounds was really running, so you've not got anywhere near the out of bounds. You've taken it out of play completely.
Yeah, completely.
Which is ideal. If we then go further up here, you can see that's where the bunker is. Now, Lee has flown that bunker, which is just over there, so we're good 5, 6, 7 paces ahead of that bunker, but you are in the fattest part of the fairway.
Yeah, completely.
And now you've been left with how far?
92 playing 84.
Okay, so we've probably gone a little bit too far, because ideally we wanted it to be playing at that 95 yards that you've kind of got with that 56 or 55 degree. But what I like now is that the pin is right at the back of that green there. If we zoom in, that pin is right at the back, so you've got lots of green to work with, which means you could probably play an easier shot with that 55. Let it kind of land on the front and let it maybe skip forward if you can hit that kind of lowy type of shot.
Yeah. If I was going to do that, I'd probably use the 50 for a bit of a lower shot in.
Yeah.
This 55, I would probably try and pitch it as far as I can to the pin.
Well, I like the lower shot here, purely because I don't really want to see you having to throw this ball all the way to the back of that green.
Okay, so we'll use the 50 then.
So go with the 50 and try and let's say so we can just run it up there. So you want to be landing this, what, 75, 80 yards onto the green, and then let it release, because it's not going to skip a massive amount.
So I've been practicing half-turn shots instead of full shots.
Full shots, yeah.
So this will be a good way of seeing how they come out.
So come out nice and low. Just picks at the front of the green and is stopped up a bit short, but I think it's just dug in as it's landed there. But it's not a bad shot. It came out nice and low, and if the greens were a little bit drier, then you'd probably got a little bit of a skip forward on that shot. Good shot though.
No,
nicely played. It took out all the danger off the tee, and you got yourself into a really solid position, and you've got a putt for birdie. So I'm just walking down, just sort of recapping on what Lee's kind of done there off the tee. Now, yes, in a course vlog, you can go for things. It's a little bit less pressure on you, but ultimately, if you're trying to come out here to lower your handicap, it's about playing the percentage game sometimes. And for a tee shot like this one down here, which is very tight and is the first tee shot of the day, you just want to settle yourself into the round, get yourself into a position where you can start to score and put some points on the board early that will kind of keep you going. For Lee, he can be a bit aggressive sometimes, and for him there, you know, going with that 2-iron, he just brought everything into play. What I wanted him to sort of start thinking about doing is working from the pin backwards. Put yourself into a position where you're going to play the perfect yardage in with your wedges, and then work it back from your wedge position to the tee. Therefore, you'll give yourself the right club off the tee to put yourself in the right spot in the fairway. So left yourself about 22 feet for birdie now, Lee.
Yeah.
So decent position into the green. Settle yourself in for the round. Okay, what are we thinking?
So it's come in. I've got it about 9 inches outside left.
Okay.
And it's just going to die into the right at the end. But I'm just looking at a 2-putt, get par on the first hole.
Just be mindful when the greens are so wet and you've got lots of water on top of the surface, that ball's not going to break like it probably would have in the summertime.
Yeah.
So with you giving it a little bit more pace, it's going to slow it down a bit, so it's not going to make that move, and with the grass being probably a little bit longer than what you would normally get on a quick surface, you're not going to see that thing break as much. Okay.
Right, so I'll give it about 6 inches then.
Okay. Again, just setting himself in. Good looking strike. Up you go.
Yeah,
just a little bit short.
A little bit short, isn't it?
A little bit short. Wasn't the pace. Pace was killing you there a little bit. Again, with the amount of water and things. Okay, so you've just walked up to that. You're going to take your time, get yourself into position. So this is where you start putting a little bit of pressure on yourself early when you're It's always nice to settle in with a 2-putt for your par. Solid, Lee, well done.
Don't mind that range.
No, that's a good range for you. That's not a bad situation. We've actually got a bit of gunfire going off behind us. That's actually doing a bit of clay pigeon shooting there going on. Solid par. Happy with that?
Yeah, completely.
Slightly different change from the tee position, I know, but
yeah, and what it's not done is, like, I could have, with a driver, I could have been, you know, when we played the course vlog,
yeah, I was
out of bounds. I'd gone out to the right.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of playing it. I know we talked about mentality and taking the, you know, the aggressive play, but sometimes it's just the wrong time to take the aggressive play.
Yeah, absolutely right. Beautiful par 3 now.
It's my favourite par 3 on this hole.
Is this
course.
your favourite one? I mean, there's water lurking there in the left, and the stream runs all the way across that bridge there, but a beautiful hole. How far have we got?
138 playing 126.
138 playing 126. Okay, and what's your thought process?
Full wedge.
Full wedge, so it's quite downhill, isn't it?
Yeah, full wedge is 130 to 135 depending on strike.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking full wedge.
Now, I'm not saying a full wedge is wrong, okay, because the way you hit your wedges, it's all good. Now, what I would be looking at here, okay, is what my biggest concern with this green is that the green is pitched a little bit from back to front.
Yeah.
And if you go in with the height that we're coming in from and you give a pitching wedge a good old whack, it's going to land and possibly spin back. Now that pin is obviously middle to front of the green, so if you zap it back a bit too much, you could be de-greening it off the front.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't quite catch it, again, the drop-off is going to be quite a big drop-off with the wedge, because you can get a bit flopsy on it, you know, floaty.
Especially wedges.
So again, all the danger at the front of that green there. I would like to see you go in with maybe just a soft 9,
right,
because I want to just take a little bit of spin off the ball and just see if we can control that ball a little bit more when it lands. I don't want it to sort of spin back too much.
Yeah.
I know there's lots of people out there that don't suffer with that, but you are a player that would suffer from a bit too much zip with your pitching wedge.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to get you into a 9-iron.
I'll go and get a 9-iron.
Go and grab your 9-iron.
Got it.
9-iron collected.
Got it.
That buggy didn't make it all the way up here. It is now stuck on the hill. You'll be in charge of getting that one out of there. Okay, so how far do you hit a 9-iron normally?
140 to 145.
Okay, so we need to knock a bit off of that. So this is kind of like that little 3/4 turny shot that we've talked about. You talked about it on the first hole there with your wedge.
Yeah.
So it's a very similar type of shot to that. Right, 9-iron is selected. So I want you to go aiming directly at the flag here, because that pin is in the middle of the green. Okay. So just nice and smooth, 3/4 swing, keep turning hard through the shot. Good strike, a little bit pulley on it. Again, when you're going in with easy shots, sometimes you can get a little bit pulley. That's got to the back of the green there, hasn't it?
It's a little bit too hard.
Did you feel like you struck it? I mean, it was a small pull of a shot, wasn't it? So it's going to travel maybe just that little bit further.
Yeah, as soon as I hit it, I thought I've hit this too hard. I tried to do a 3/4, but I think I just
tried to hit at
turned too hard at it.
The difficulty is, I think, sometimes is when people slow down with hitting these shots, and these are shots that you're going to have to possibly practice. But majority of people slow their hips down, and then their arms kind of just take over, and you end up flipping it left.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure that you keep turning and keep holding that club, pushing towards the flag.
Yeah.
Now the good thing about that shot is you're at the back of the green. Okay, so you took out all the danger at the front part of that green.
Yeah.
Okay, remember, we're trying to get your handicap down to scratch. So pars are, you know, if you can play par golf, you're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't you? With the odd one that drops in, with your length on par 5s and things like that to take advantage of. These can be dangerous holes. And again, you're just settling yourself in. It's hole number 2, just settle yourself in for the round. Got down up onto the green, or down onto the green, and this is the danger, what I was talking about. Everything landing just short or spinning back is going to gather up and then possibly run down that bank, and then you're left with a bit of trouble. And again, the miss hit, probably his miss it with a wedge would have probably got over the water, but again, it's a pretty dangerous shot from being down there up to here, because he doesn't have a lot of green to work with. So the percentage game, is okay out the back here. As you quite rightly said, a little bit long, maybe a fraction pulley, which de-lofted the club and got it flying a little bit too far. But no damage, no damage done. Better off being at the back of the green than off the front.
Yeah.
Okay, what have we got?
It's downhill. I think it's dying in off the right, but it's going to go left. It's a bit of a double breaker, so I'm not getting a birdie. It's, you know, it's not. I'm not attacking the pin for a birdie. So this is just get it within a dustbin lid.
Yeah.
Get a par.
And you've got the pace of the greens now after the first.
And walk on, I think.
Yeah. You can see why this is his favourite hole. It's lovely down there. Take your time. Interesting how you say that you weren't going to race that, but you gave that a bit of a thump.
Yeah, because the other one was short on the first. I just, I thought I'll hit it a little bit harder.
But the other one on the first was slightly uphill, whereas this is actually downhill. Like I said, there's quite a pitch from back to front here, and getting control of it is getting an understanding. Again, looking at walking around the green is always a good thing to get an idea on the sort of slopes that are going on, but definitely a slight misread with the slope, I would say, that gave him a bit more of an to get it past the hole. Okay, this one in for the par then. All uphill. Solid again. He just bangs them in, doesn't he?
There we go.
I think we're going to have to do a video on your putting at some stage from
well, how bad it is from there.
I gotta say, like, I'll be honest, I'm standing behind this camera and I'm quite confident, like I'm not even worried that you're not going to knock that in. Like that was just going, I just sort of read that as going in. What are you actually feeling over those putts? Because I mean, you bang them in at some serious pace, Lee, like that. I don't know if the camera really sort of highlights it, how fast they go in. I mean, you're not afraid to give it a whack, are you?
No, I think once it's like at that sort of range, unless you're on a massive break, most of them you're inside the cup most of the time. Yeah. So I just aim it, if it's breaking left to right, I'll aim it inside left or of the cup and just hit it at the flag. Yeah. And knowing that as long as my strike is correct and I've lined it up, it's going to hit somewhere in that hole. So I'd rather just be firm and straight than trying to drop it in and play the brakes. Just whack it in.
And that's quite an interesting one. Lee and I have been chatting about it off camera today, actually, funnily enough, about his putting and how he feels when he hits putts at that pace. Now, for someone like me, I'm more of a kind of someone who likes to die a ball in, so it's kind of falling in the front door. Now, it could be that over the years of me competing and playing golf, I don't want to see that ball go racing past the hole, so I'm kind of almost maybe a fraction anxious when I'm putting at that length. But what I do like about what Lee does is even if he does miss it, he's got a good read of the ball going past the cup, which is actually quite a positive when you've got to come back at it again. So we've got another par 3 because our buggy didn't make it up the hill. No, to par 5.
We've used it too much this morning.
We've been flying around in it all morning. So we've now come to the 17th hole, which is a par 3. We're going to play 17 and then 18. It's a pretty straightforward shot really from here, Lee. I mean, how far have you got?
140.
140. Yeah. The tee is pushed forward because it's the winter mat.
Full 9-9.
Oh, what?
Full 9-9.
Full 9-9. Yeah. Again, it doesn't get, the green is very wide from left to right. It's just a massive green, isn't it? So you need to be taking just dead aim at the flag because the pin's pretty much, I would say, just right of centre. Okay. So there's nothing special that you need to be thinking about here, other than making sure that you've got the yardage right and it's slightly uphill, I suppose. Which I think have you thought about that, the uphill bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's playing 140.
It's playing on the 140 number. Again, when you're out on the golf course and you don't have the luxury of going down the line of getting a slope reading, you've got to start getting a gauge as to how far uphill you need to play for it. So this one probably 2 or 3 yards uphill. Just a good 9 for Lee. That's perfect. That's a great golf shot. Straight at it. Get on it then. Very good. I think, I mean, if you've got the clubbing, if you've got your club right, I mean, that should be spot on.
Yeah, hopefully.
Get yourself a nice little bird.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Good tee shot, Lee.
Yeah, not bad.
That has plugged itself into the green nicely, doesn't it? And left yourself again another little uphill putt for birdie, probably 15, 18 feet up the hill.
It probably would have done better with just an easier 8, but it's difficult to say whether they're going to drop and stop or bounce and roll. So
I actually think possibly when you hit it, I mean, it went quite high, obviously. Maybe there was a puff of wind that maybe killed it a fraction for you, because you struck it quite well, didn't you?
Yeah, hit it well, yeah.
You pretty much know your yardages now, so I think probably a small puff of wind may have just stalled that a little bit for you.
Okay.
But I do like, you know, I actually prefer you hitting the 9, and the reason for that is because if you'd have flushed the 8, there is out of bounds lurking in the background there, which I'd just rather take that out of play. You've got loads of space at the front of the green here. So even if you were just short with a 9, it's still not a bad place to miss it.
No, not good at all.
Okay,
right.
Not a lot really wrong with this putt. All uphill, maybe just off your left, is it?
Just off the left.
Again, outside chance. Chances of him holding this putt are quite low. Getting a hell of a whack again. To me, that's pretty good. That slowed down quite nicely. It just looked like it went off like a bit of a rocket.
I've kind of got the speed between slow and fast now.
No, well, that was uphill, so you've got that right. Well done. So another solid par.
Solid par.
Very good, mate. You're heading in the right direction for scratch, because you are level par.
Yeah.
Through 3 holes.
Can we put this into the handicap committee?
No, I don't know if they'll let you do that. No. 18th hole. It's a bit of a shame we're not going to get on to a par 5 or a bit more of a longer hole. But what did you hit here in the vlog? You hit drivers? Did we all hit drivers?
I hit driver and I was
way right.
Just left, actually.
Oh, just left.
I was about 5 yards off the path that went left, but
okay.
Yours was in the fairway.
In the fairway, decent spot. Okay, so this is again another very dangerous hole. Out of bounds all the way down the left hand side, and if you miss it a little bit right as well, it's not great because there's obviously lots of trees up there.
Yeah.
How far is the hole?
290 from here.
290, and that's including the uphill?
No, that's its plain yardage.
Okay, so let's say it's 300 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. From when we played the first hole, I want you to think about working backwards. So go the 300.
Mm-hmm.
How far do you want to be left in? What would be your ideal yardage now?
80 to 100.
Okay, so pick a number between 80 and 100.
90.
90 yards, perfect. Okay, so now you need to be hitting it 210 off the tee. Playing the 210. Now, how far is that bunker up there on the left-hand side?
160.
That bunker's 160, okay? So you need to be getting it at least past, making sure you get past that.
Yeah.
So what is the 210 club?
2 iron, and not a full one.
Okay. Bearing in mind when you hit a soft iron on the par 3, what did you do with the shot?
Pulled it slightly.
Okay, so what don't you want to do down this hole?
If it's a 4 iron, it's a leathered 4 iron. 4 iron, a good 4 iron is 214.
Yeah, okay. But a 2 iron can go 240.
Yeah.
And it can get, I don't know, are you more accurate with a 4 iron or more accurate with a 2 iron? Because let's be honest, even if you hit a 4 iron and it puts you to 100 yards in, that's still not a bad yardage.
I'd probably say I'm the same.
Okay, so you're happy with the 2 iron, you're happy with the 4 iron?
Yeah.
Okay, well then let's go with the 2 iron. What shape of shot do you want to hit up here?
I would normally aim for the left edge of that tree.
The left edge of the right trees,
Left edge of the right trees, and let it draw in, or I can sometimes, if I'm going to miss anywhere, if it's as long as the face isn't open, it's always left. So I'll always aim for the right hand side of a fairway.
And try and work it in.
And normally my shot shape is a draw, so it'll either draw in right or I will pull it straight normally.
Okay, well let's do it then. Let's see how it goes. Perfect, great shot. Started it down the middle and then it's gone up towards that, just over that bunker on the left hand side there.
A little bit out the toe.
Was it? So it was a kind of a poorish strike.
Yeah, it's a bit of a poorish strike.
So lost a bit of ball speed, then lost a bit of yardage.
But I think that'll still be 120 in, I think, from there. and that's why I aim right, because if I'm going to miss anywhere on a face, it's the toe.
Yeah.
So that will always pull it left. So I'd always aim right for the left rather than aim left and go left.
So what I liked about that situation there with Lee is he took control of it. And that is an important part. Even though I'm out here trying to help him, guide him kind of around the golf course, sometimes there's a situation like we had there where I'm thinking 4-iron, he's thinking 2-iron. He has to take control of the situation, because ultimately if he stands up with the club that I've asked him to hit and he doesn't quite commit to it, or he's a little bit anxious about the decision that I've made for him, he's not going to pull off the shot that we kind of want him to play. So I would rather see him go with a committed swing like he did there with his 2-iron, albeit he didn't strike it, but at least he got it into the position of him taking control of that situation, which is absolutely spot on. And as a coach, I think that's really important as well. Good drive, Lee.
Thank you.
Perfect, in fact. What yardage have you got?
Exactly 100.
Exactly 100. So your miss hit dropped into that 100-yard zone, which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you thinking here?
This is where I'm in two minds, because my 50 degree is about 110.
Yep.
But I can get wafty with the wedges. It's something I need to work on.
Okay.
So it's either a controlled 50 or an even more controlled pitching wedge.
Right, I'm just going to put something into your mind here, and something that you may not have thought about, certainly something I would think about in this scenario. If you set up to that golf ball for me, just going to stand by it. You get a bit wafty.
Yeah.
Is that ball below your feet?
Just.
It is, yeah. It's quite a bit. I mean, there's a bit of slope here, so you're going to be having to stretch for that golf ball in order to hit this shot correctly. The problem with that is that you could catch it just a little clean, which is quite common from this situation, which is going to possibly lose you a little bit of ball speed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying thin, I mean just a little bit low in the face. So therefore I'd rather see you hit that more controlled wedge in this situation than going at 50 to see if you can get to the bottom, because if you do miss hit it, you're not, that pin is right on that top shelf.
Yeah.
As in, you don't have a lot of green to work with between the front of the green and the flag.
Yeah.
You get that thing spinning back too much, you're down by our feet again, because it's a big slope, isn't it, coming off there? Yeah, so
controlled wedge.
That's only from that situation. So again, you know, would you have ever thought about that really?
I'd have thought about hitting a pitching wedge, but not for those reasons.
Okay.
But I'd have thought about hitting a pitching wedge just because if I fat it, it's going to get further.
Yeah.
It's silly, I think of the negative instead of the positive sometimes.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to wedges, because I can get wafty. I'm thinking I'd rather be a little bit longer and putting than wafty, short and chipping.
Okay. So it's definitely an area of the game that you could do with zoning in on maybe a little bit more, just to try and, you know, get those thoughts a little bit more positive.
Yeah, completely.
Perfect. Now that is just a nice smooth easy wedge for him. Gave himself such a good position there. If you look at what I was talking about at the front here, you get this slightly wrong and a slight miss hit, that ball is going to end up trickling back down towards those trees down there. Definitely the right play for Lee coming in, and he's left himself a really good opportunity to get himself under par. Great golf shot. Great golf shot, Lee.
Thank you.
When you were over the ball, did you notice that that ball was quite well below your feet in the end?
Yeah, once I had a club in my hand I did.
Yeah,
it was difficult to gauge until I had the club in my hand, yeah.
Great golf shot in there. Did you do anything different there? Obviously you were going with a softer shot, and you're learning all the time from what we talked about out on the other shot that you played into the par 3, should we say, that was a 3/4, that you pulled it slightly. That was just spot on. So anything different there?
Just make sure, because it was below my feet, you've said in the past to make sure you turn, because when it's below your feet you can stop and let the arms take over.
Yes.
So I made sure I turned hard on it, but it was just it was more like a pitch shot, like a really hard chip shot, as opposed to a full shot, because obviously pitching wedge would be in the bar.
It would. Okay, Lee just lining himself up now. Where have you got this, Lee? I mean, from here it's my right edge, so I've got it on your left. Just maybe just moving off there slightly.
Yeah, just inside left, I think.
Just inside left.
Yeah.
Okay, slightly downhill. Let's see if we can get this under par for the 4 holes we've played. Ah, and in.
There it is.
You do putt very nicely, mate, from that distance. That's definitely your distance, isn't it?
Yeah, don't mind them distances.
So 4 holes that we've played.
Yeah, 1 under.
1 under par. So destination scratch is definitely something that you're trying to get to, and certainly those types of things give you confidence moving forward. Have you learned anything from that? And I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here with what we're doing, but is there anything that you can take away from what we've just done out there?
Stop looking at everything as a set yardage, maybe. Like on the par 3, it's 130 yards playing, so that to me, I know a pitching wedge, so maybe looking at a club more and sort of taking a club more and doing like the pitching wedge easy shots.
Yeah.
And so kind of taking the duff out of it. So if you do duff it, you're going to carry most of the danger. And if you get a decent strike like this one, it was a 6-foot birdie putt.
Yeah. So Lee shooting 1 under par there for 4 holes. Very, very good. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not the hardest 4 holes in golf, but there's still, those 2 par 4s out there are still tight holes and can bite you if you're not treating them with a little bit of respect. The one thing that I wanted Lee to take away from today is that he has to start working on those short par 4s as working from the green backwards. Make a strategy, make a plan off the tee, but work it back to what you want to be hitting for your second shots in, and then it can start to sort of set yourself up into your comfort zones, and then you can start capitalizing and making some birdies out there. Let me know, put your comments down below. I'd like to hear what you think about that. Are you a player that needs to start to think about working your way around the golf course just that little bit better? It's not just about going out there whacking driver. I'm happy to see that with players if they've got confidence in their long game. Lee is just struggling with that at the moment, so trying to work him around with a bit more of a strategy is definitely going to help his game. Put your comments down below. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, and as always, stay safe, and we'll catch up with you again soon.